just talking about this,
Yeah, we were.
and talking to you is the reason why I wanted to use this subject tonight. It's the reason why I really wanted you to come, because you have lived life like the rest of us, but I'm telling you, you just are a strong woman, and I'm thankful to have you in my life, because we were in each other's lives at a time when we needed it.
Exactly.
You know, we were going through, our kids were small, and we were going through.
Single parent.
And you need some sisters in your life to help you out sometimes. Maybe you want to get out for a night. I mean, our kids were always over each other's house. But but the thing is, our kids didn't go anywhere else. Yeah. They only went to our houses, and we were across the street from each other.
That made it so cool.
It did. It
made me iron their clothes and stuff.
And that's right. Because no, I didn't make you.
No,
you would not let those kids.
Not going out the house.
You were ironing everything.
That's it.
But they loved coming over there.
Yeah.
They felt safe. And the same with your daughter. When she came to my house, she knew it was going to be chaos. It was just going to be whatever. Go in the room and play. Jump off the bunk bed.
I'm going over.
And I'm going to give y'all some pizza. And I'll see you Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll see you. Because she ain't going to come home the next day.
Is Tyria coming home?
No, you know she wasn't going to come. You knew that when you had No, you don't call us. Yeah. We'll let you know when we're ready. Yeah, don't call. Don't stalk us. But so I want to go over. I have some things that I just wanted to talk about. Was when did you realize that you were that strong woman? When did you get to the point when you realized, man? Because you've been taking care of yourself and your children in a way. I mean, like I said earlier, your daughter was always dressed to the nines. Always had new Reebok classics. Fresh white sneakers, clothes ironed, hair. And she was 3.
Yeah.
And that was forever. She was always. That was your little baby doll.
Well, I would say when I really realized that it was just me, her, I guess I was in my mid-20s, because I had her, I was 17 when I got pregnant, 18 when I had her, and it took me a year to realize that, you know what, this is my child, mama's baby, papa's maybe. It was a year that I realized that this is life. This is what you chose, so this is the road that you have to travel down. And from there, I was on go, speed. When I first had her, it wasn't even, I think it was 6 weeks or maybe before that I went and started working. You know, I had applied for social service. Mm-hmm. For me, social service was not
the avenue for you.
No. Mm-hmm. They made you feel so degraded. You know, you go around there. At that time, you would go and they would have, someone behind the window and they're yelling, "Oh, Miss Parker, you didn't get your food stamps."
Back when everything was in the one room.
Yeah, like, are you?
And the room's full of other people.
Other people, yeah. And they want, and they just made you feel, well, I can't say for others, but for me, it just made me feel so degraded. Like, how dare you to,
announce my business.
Stamps and, and it was just so embarrassing because there's other people there and nobody knows what the other person is there for. I mean, however, you are there for some type of assistance, but for what? Nobody knows. But after that, I think I did that for a year. Mm-hmm. And that was horrible, because, and it also taught me to budget, because you were only getting that check once a month. That taught me, like, you better spend wisely.
That's a very important fact that I think that our girls growing up missed out on. I missed out on it growing up. Money management. You know, you get it, and to me, having to save. My mom and dad used to always try to tell me to save. I'm not saving it. That's like torturing me.
Well, you know, and I've been working since I've been 13. You know, when we had the summer jobs, and my mom would always say, "Save your money." And however I did, like the whole summer I would save. But even when we were younger, you know, my aunt had a snowball stand. We would go down there and work, and we would be so excited. Like, we're gonna get our money. We're going school shopping, and me, of course. And I don't know, and I still do that to this day. I will go in the store and I'll see something, and it's like, oh, I like that. The most expensive thing in that store. You know, and
I deserve it.
Yeah, and my mom, and she would say, "Now, do you realize you could get
five
of those instead of one?" And I'm like, "No, I want to have this."
That was my children. I had one child who I give him $150 to do their shoe shopping. He would go buy one pair of shoes. She would take that same $150 and go buy 10 pair of shoes, the little multicolor, so she have a color for each outfit. The little
and that kind of you know, that part of my I would say preteens kind of taught me to save, but it was different after having my first child, because it was not only me. You know, I had to make sacrifices. Do I want this versus, okay, she needs the new pair of classics
every 2 weeks.
But
every payday.
Yeah. You know, and then with her father, he would say he would do something and he wouldn't do it. So I just learned to stop asking and to know that I had to do it, you know, rather it be formula, pay the babysitter, you know, clothes, whatever. It just wasn't happening. And that made me strive harder, because it like I said, it just wasn't me. I had another life that I was responsible for, and I knew that my parents weren't going to take care of my child, because that's my responsibility. You know, this is a lifetime decision that I made. So I just
do you feel like there were more outer influences? Like, did you have strong influences in your life that you watched do this and gave you a footnote? Like, was it your grandmother that you used to see taking care of things, or was it the birth of your child that just changed everything?
I would say it was more the birth of my child. Because of, I guess, with my upcoming, you know, when you're in a house, and it's like, I'm not going to do that to my child. I don't, you know, like how your parents would make you.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, I'm not going to do this.
You better clean that plate.
Yeah.
And then the kids are obese and you're like wondering why. You better eat everything on that plate.
Oh, God, yeah. And that was, you know, that was a part that stuck in my mind, that I just didn't want my child to, as far as the providing for her, you know, I didn't want her to have to really want for anything.
Well, she didn't.
Yeah, and that was terrible. I mean, because where I thought that I was helping her, it was hindering her later in life, you know, because they grew up to, Mom is going to take care of me, and I was, I guess, in my late 30s, with the grandchild.
Right.
Then I just knew, now I had my own too, and now I have a grandchild. So I was then responsible for
a whole family.
My 2 daughters, my granddaughter, and I just kept going. I mean, it was no stopping me, you know. I just did what I had to do. You know, side jobs, whatever it was, to put food on the table and keep a roof over my children's head.
Now, one thing I wanted to point out to our audience, for the girls coming up, you know, multiple streams. You know, you hear it all the time, but you can't afford to just have a job anymore because everything is so expensive. Like now with things shutting down the way they are, you got to have an internet business, or you need to have some other ways of making money because, like you said, you could be the only one responsible for a whole family, and one click of the switch by the government or whatever is going on right now, everything just gets turned. What the world you thought was this way is really this way.
As the world turns.
Right. So it's like, I think that the girls now have to realize that you may not need to go to college, but you need to get some type of education on forming your own business and having different ways to make money. So when, like, you remember back in the vending machines was a big thing, and payphones.
Yeah.
People were buying all these payphone services, and then they come out with cell phones. And now all those people that own all those payphones are, you know, they're not making any money. Where are the payphones? They've taken them down and everything else. They're vandalized, just sitting around looking nasty. You can't find a payphone.
Yeah. But, and you know, and I think that was one thing also that we didn't instill in our children was to know how to make ends meet. You know what I mean? As far as
to get that
like sacrificing and just if this door shuts, that there's another door that's gonna open.
Because mom was opening that door. So I don't really need to open that door. If I just sit here for a minute, mom's gonna go ahead and open that door for me.
Yeah. Or make a phone call, mom, you know. and that's true. That is so true. That's one thing that I truly regret is just them having everything at their fingertips and not having to really work for it.
But don't you think that that's something that a child either has or doesn't have? I mean, like everybody isn't a leader. Everybody isn't born strong. Everybody doesn't recognize their need when they need to get strong.
Yeah.
And that may not be something that wasn't taught by you because you were the example.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have an example that was readily available all the time. So therefore, you had to get it. That's something that you just decided to have.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we don't teach them that. I think maybe they just aren't ready for the lesson at that time.
That's true. And I also think that a lot of these kids now, they don't really, I would say that some of them don't use common sense, you know. They don't know what a struggle is because we never allowed them to see what the struggle was.
Because that's grown folks' business.
Yeah, because that's,
There's always food on the table.
Yeah,
There's
but you don't know what
refrigerator.
had to be done to get that food on the table, to get that coat on your back, you know, shoes on your feet. So that they didn't really know because at that point, the way we were raised, that what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Right.
And they don't, and you don't involve your children in grown folk business, as they would say. But they don't, and I'm guilty of. I just never allow them to see, you know, that the struggle.
Did you think they'd view you as not as strong as you are if they were to see how hard you were working? Or do you think they would have realized how hard you need to work to make it happen?
I think if they seen some of it, I mean, you know, that they would have, you know, they would have thought different. I mean, one now says to me, Mom, you know, you are really strong. Like, how do you do this, Mom? How? You know, I would never let them see me cry. Did I cry? A million nights I cried. I mean, you know.
In the room with the door shut.
With the door shut.
In the shower.
Yeah.
When you can
just
be
every
alone.
chance alone that you got to be.
In the car driving to work on a job that you hate going to, but you gotta go to because you gotta take care of those kids.
Because the struggle is real, like, yeah. And I think that what really taught me to be a strong woman was when I had my first child, you know, to know that, hey, this is life.
And it's real. And
it's real. And I have to take care, you know, I have to take care of her. Because I know that I couldn't depend on her father. You know, his mom would help, but that would be as far as babysitting. You know, she would go over there on weekends, but
monetarily, you still have to feed that baby. You had to go there and get them food stamps.
I had to go get them food
stamps. You gotta go get them food stamps.
Yourself.
That's okay, but you know, you still trying, and you can still work and get some assistance. And pride ain't nothing when you gotta take care of a child.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have room for pride. I mean, you out there by yourself sleeping on somebody's couch. You don't have to have any pride if you don't want to. But when you bring a child in this room, all that pride goes right down the throat.
It's different. It's very different. It versus if you're alone. I mean, if it's just you and you have to take care of yourself, it's okay. But when you have others that look up to you to take care of them, to provide for them, you know, it really hits home different. And I'm thankful for the storm that I went through as a young mother that made me strong. And nothing but God kept me to keep pushing, to know that, you know what, there is a rainbow somewhere.
For you.
For me. For you. With my name on it.
That's only your name.
And there's light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, it's the trials and tribulations that you go through, and depending on the type of person you are, you have to be strong. You know, like I said, I was 17, pregnant. What am I doing? I mean, you know, like, I'm pregnant, and it's like, okay, then my mom was like, okay, if you stay here, you know, there were, you know, the rules. You can't take your baby out after certain. I need to really get out of here. I mean, you know what I mean?
And it was for your best interest.
Yeah, and it was for my best.
But you wanted to do what you wanted to do.
I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Now, I'm a mother now.
I'm grown.
I don't need you telling me what to do.
It is your house, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's your house, so I know that I couldn't abide by the rules, so I'm just going to leave. I'm going to leave, and I'm just going to get out of here. Before I get put out, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go. Voluntary. I'm
pack my own stuff.
Yeah.
Not throwing it out the window at me.
Please don't do that. But no, that, it really, I would say my firstborn really made me strong in the person that, you know, that I am. Just to be strong and to know that you can get through anything. I mean, with having faith in God and leaning on God, it's...
Did you notice how your prayers have changed, evolved over the years? Like, when I was younger, my prayers were pretty plastic. God, thank you for the flowers and the bees.
Yeah.
Sunny day, you know. And then as you get older, but
it's more intense.
Once you get to our age, we cry, Lord, please help me. I don't know what I'm doing.
A praying mom, a praying mom, you know, that it'll wake you up out of your sleep and have you on your knees.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, we would always laugh at our parents like,
yes.
I pray for that girl.
I know. What you trying to say? I know what you're trying to say.
But I get it now. I get it. I'm a praying mom. And you have to stay prayed up too. And I ask God every day to just continue to give me the strength to have faith in Him, to know that He's God alone and that anything is possible through Him. I know it's this God's grace and mercy that has brought me thus far to have me this strong, because
I just want to thank you for being so strong and for joining me today
Yes,
on our podcast.
Awesome.
This is my friend Tyria. We've been friends, oh my goodness, 32 years. Something like that. Something like that.
34.
And we've seen each other go through a lot of life. And I wanted her to come and share some of her story because it may be someone else's story who just needs to hear it. So with all that being said, we're going to wrap this session up. And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.